Recently, I played through the PS3 exclusive Tales of Xillia. Though it was released in 2011 in Japan, it didn't get localized until fall of last year. Despite not finishing it until the beginning of this year, I think I would have considered Tales of Xillia to be my game of the year for 2013. Having played majority of the games in most people's game of the year lists, such as BioShock Infinite and A Link Between Worlds, I definitely see why people chose those games as their game of the year. 2013 was a fantastic year for gaming, being the end of a console generation and the midpoint for portables like the 3DS and the Vita. Every single platform had something for everyone. My reasoning for having Tales of Xillia as my game of the year is most likely unique to me. It was my first action JRPG aside from the Kingdom Hearts series. I felt like I needed to make more than just a review for this. Tales of Xillia was special to me, in not just the combat system, but its entertaining and compelling story full of lovable characters with distinct personalities. The story was told through a variety of ways, from panel-based voiceovers to gameplay cutscenes to beautifully crafted anime cutscenes. It was also interesting learning more about the characters. They do a great job adding more story through more than just the main quest. Doing the side quest really adds to finding out everything about the characters and the world around them. The story has many twists and turns that had me surprised. It took me just over 55 hours to finish the game for the first time. And that's considering that I didn't do all of the side quests. There are a few times where I thought I was close to the end, but thankfully I was wrong. The game is basically split in 4 acts, but it is hard to tell just how far you are until you actually beat the game. One of the most memorable moments in the game was thinking that I was at the end and then finding out that there were still multiple hours left. I was happy to see that the story had so much to it. Overall, it was a fantastic story, primarily because of the character development, and not just the main characters, but everyone in general felt like real people who I actually got to meet and see react to the events that occurred in the game. Gameplay-wise, the game succeeded. There are certain moments of linearity, but eventually you are free to explore the world to your liking. It is made very easy by the fast travel system that allows you to select areas and pick which entrance to start in. The world is full of loot to collect and optional dungeons that will make those who enjoy exploration feel right at home. When battles are encountered, it takes you to an arena-like battlefield. The exploration mode lets you roam around the world and is full of AI that vary from villagers, merchants, and monsters. In this mode, you can find hidden items, talk to NPCs, and run into enemies to enter the battle. Similar to other games that run in a very similar system, there are ways to begin battles with an advantage and a disadvantage. If you and an enemy run head-on, then a yellow X will show up before the battle, meaning it is a neutral start. If you sneak up behind an enemy, the X will be blue and the enemy will start off stunned and with a bit of damage. If you run to the side of them, then the X will be purple, indicating that they will only take a slight amount of damage at the beginning of the battle. If an enemy runs into you from the back, then the X will be red, and you will start off surrounded by enemies. Once in the battle mode, controls slightly alter, becoming similar to fighting games where you can walk from left to right and jump by pressing up on the control stick. So you are able to free run in all directions by holding the button. This system works well because it allows you to have good control of your actions. There are regular attacks, an arts button, which are this game's version of skills/spells, and a block button. You can map a total of 8 arts to a combination of buttons and can also link with other party members to pull off linked arts, and eventually get what is called arcane arts, which are similar to finishing moves in fighting games. Arts can have element types, which can be used to expose weaknesses of enemies. For example, one could be resistant to fire but weak to water, or resistant to wind but weak to electricity, and vice versa. Of course, there are enemies that have no weaknesses or resistances, but this adds a layer of strategy to what arts you will decide to use. Like other RPGs, there's a leveling system. In this game's case, you can experience at the end of battles, and when you level up, and whenever you level up, you get a certain number of GP, which is used to activate nodes in a spiderweb-based skill tree in what the game called the Xillia. It's a really good system that allows those who want to completely develop their characters to their liking. But there is also an auto-leveling system for those who are less willing to mess around with their character's build. Each character can equip skills, accessories, weapons, armor, and attachments. The skills you unlock within the Lilium Orb, while the accessories, weapons, and armor are found and bought in stores. Attachments are all for looks and can be found within the game as bonuses and range from serious-looking costumes to ridiculous ones that are for those who want to have a laugh or two when looking at their characters during cutscenes. The game's shops are separated into 5 different categories. Each category has its own level that can be upgraded by donating materials or gold. You can donate at any time, but I would strongly recommend waiting until each shop has a ×3 special for a specific material type. The visuals in the game look good. There isn't anything impressive, but keep in mind that the game was originally released in 2011. The gameplay cutscenes do look a bit outdated because of the mouth synchronization being slightly off. Now, as for the voice actors, I think that they sound good, with the exception of one of the 2 main characters, Mila. At times, her voice doesn't have the personality to it that some of the other characters have. Unfortunately, the game doesn't feature the original Japanese voices as an option. I personally quickly got over Mila's voice and felt that the other characters had voices that fit the character's appearance and personality. The game also has some microtransactions, which I didn't actually discover until 20 hours into the game. It is completely unneeded to beat the game, and I would avoid them unless you're the kind of person who wants to buy a costume. Tales of Xillia is something special to me. Being the first of the Tales series that I have played, I will definitely explore other games from the series as I await the sequel of Tales of Xillia 2, released later this year. If you're like me and hadn't really played JRPGs, then Tales of Xillia is a great place to start, as long as you can look past Mila's voice. And this is why I gave Tales of Xillia an 8.5 out of 10. Alright, thank you so much for watching my first ever video review. Now if you click on the annotation, it'll take you to my next review, which isn't currently out yet, but it will take you there once it releases. And also, about my mic currently, it might sound a little worse than the one before, but I am planning on getting a more higher quality mic than the one I currently have, since I realized that throughout this video you can actually hear some parts kind of cut out towards the end or the beginning, because that's kind of the way the Asteroid 40 mic works. But hopefully later I'll get a better mic that is specifically made for talking in a more kind of a commentary kind of form. So yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Ninja Blast, and bye.